Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Hallmark hunk Kristoffer Polaha shares name connection to Kristofferson. What's in a name? Kristoffer Polaha's unique spelling of his name is thanks to the late actor, writer, and musician. The late actor and musician was born Kristoffer Kristofferson. Therefore, the Hallmark star took to social media to share this very personal connection. How was the star influenced by Kristofferson? It appears in many ways. Here are the details. Kristoffer Polaha shares name connection to Kristofferson. Just a few hours after it was announced that Kristofferson had died in his home in Maui, Kristoffer Polaha went to share how much the late Renaissance man had influenced his life, starting with this name. On IG, Polaha shared a photo of Kristofferson during his heyday. The Mystery 101 star wrote, "My sweet mom spelled my name with a K and two Fs because of this man. I've known him my whole life and loved his music and movies. Because of this connection, I was told story after story, throughout my life, from people who knew Kristofferson, of how Kris moved through the world in a very special way. He's a legend and a class act." It is not hard to believe that Polaha, who was born early in 1977, could be named after this legend. He was born right after A Star Is Born with Barbra Streisand was the big movie. No one was bigger than Kris. He won the Golden Globe for Best Actor less than 3 weeks before Polaha arrived. Did Kristoffer's name influence his career choice? He may not have outright said that, but again, it seemed that acting and performing was his destiny. However, did he ever meet his namesake? Polaha addressed that in his beautiful tribute. Did Kristoffer Polaha ever meet his namesake? Kristoffer Polaha fans may want to know whether he met Kristofferson. The Hallmark star shared that he nearly did. "The closest I ever got to meeting Kristofferson was during an elevator ride at the Toronto Film Festival back in 2003. I had just met Robert Duvall, who Kris was in town to support, and I wanted to whip out my driver's license and say, 'See that spelling? That's because of you.' But I didn't want to embarrass the girl I was with, I was trying to play it cool. So I didn't meet him. Silly me." However, this is not the end of the story. Polaha continued. "The cool part is, I later married that girl and such did a few years later and told him that story, and it afforded them a moment of bonding and me the promise of a warm hello if Kris and I were ever to cross paths again. So close. They were just 1 degree from meeting face to face." Polaha finished that this was something that never happened. "We never did. R.I.P. Kris, I'm honored to carry on the spelling." Kristofferson starred in Hallmark's Angels Sing. Ironically, in another missed opportunity, Kristofferson acted in a Hallmark Christmas movie about 3 years before Polaha joined the network. The A Star Is Born actor was in Angels Sing. According to Kristofferson died on Saturday, September 28, at 88, with his family at his side. Georgia Marketalo has several decades of writing experience, including travel writing, tech writing, art history analysis, and now entertainment writing. She loves to share the latest news on rom-coms and mysteries. Hallmark hunk Kristoffer Polaha shares name connection to Kristofferson. In the golden-hued world of Hallmark Channel romances, where Christmas never ends and love blooms between cookie-baking contests and snowflake chases, one leading man stands tall, both literally and figuratively. Kristoffer Polaha, a fan favorite for his charming smile, old Hollywood charisma, and knack for playing rugged yet sensitive love interests, has quietly become one of Hallmark's crown jewels. But what many don't know is that his very name carries a surprising connection to another legendary figure in American entertainment, country music icon and actor Kristofferson. At first glance, the similarity might seem like coincidence. Kristoffer and Kristofferson, close enough to notice, but far enough apart to dismiss. However, as Polaha himself recently revealed in a candid interview, the naming wasn't accidental at all. In fact, it was a quiet tribute, an intentional nod passed from one generation to the next, inspired by creativity, artistry, and a sense of rebellious spirit. A name worth singing about. "I get asked about my name all the time," Polaha said, relaxing into a leather armchair on the set of his latest Hallmark Christmas film, where fake snow glittered outside the windows in the middle of July. "People think it's Scandinavian, or maybe that I made it up for stage appeal. But the truth is, Kristoffer is my given name, and yeah, it's connected to Kristofferson." Polaha explained that his mother was a devoted fan of Kristofferson, not just for his gravel voice ballads or his outlaw country persona, but for the poet and intellectual behind the songs. "My mom always said Kris was a Renaissance man," Polaha smiled. "A Rhodes Scholar, a pilot, a songwriter, an actor. He did it all. And she loved that he didn't fit into just one box. So when it came time to name her son, she made a bold choice. She didn't go with Kris directly, Polaha said. But Kristoffer, that was her way of giving me a unique identity while still honoring someone she admired. It's a fitting origin for a man who would grow up to wear many hats himself, just like his namesake. From Kristofferson to Polaha, echoes of an artist. Kristofferson's journey from Oxford-educated scholar to country music legend to Hollywood actor is the stuff of iconography. And while Polaha's path has been different, there are parallels worth noting. Like Kristofferson, Polaha's early career was marked by risk-taking and an appetite for variety. He studied acting seriously, earning a degree from NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, and began his career with theatrical ambitions before breaking into television and film. From soap operas to primetime dramas, from indie films to romantic comedies, Polaha has resisted being typecast. But it wasn't until his unexpected rise in the Hallmark world that he truly found his sweet spot, and, as it turns out, a devoted fan base. I think there's a misconception that Hallmark is a creative dead end, Polaha said. But I've found it to be the opposite. These movies give me the chance to explore emotional vulnerability, warmth, connection. That's rare in Hollywood these days. Indeed, Polaha's performances, whether he's a single dad in flannel or a hometown hero with a secret, bring a surprising depth to the genre. He doesn't just play the love interest, he inhabits his characters with nuance and authenticity, much like Kristofferson did in films like A Star is Born or Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. That's what I admire about Kristofferson, Polaha said. He brought truth into everything he did. Even when the story was simple, he made it feel real. That's the mark of a great artist. A modern Renaissance man. And like Kristofferson, Polaha hasn't limited himself to acting. In 2021, he co-wrote a novel, Moments Like This, with author Ana Gomez, a romantic story with emotional complexity and an eye for humanity. As the first in a series of books aimed at telling real love stories for modern readers. He's also ventured into producing and has expressed interest in directing down the line. I don't want to just be in front of the camera, Polaha said. I want to tell stories that matter. Stories with heart. It's easy to imagine Kristofferson, who famously turned down a teaching post at West Point to chase a dream in Nashville, nodding in approval at such ambition. A tribute carved in identity. So does Polaha ever feel pressure living with a name connected, even loosely, to a legend? Not pressure, he said after a pause. More like inspiration. He shared that as a kid, he didn't fully grasp the significance of his name. But as I got older and learned who Kristofferson was, what he stood for, it gave me a kind of quiet strength. It reminded me that it's okay to carve your own path, to follow the road less traveled, even if it's risky. That, too, echoes the ethos of Hallmark's leading men, strong, kind, often misunderstood, but ultimately brave enough to show their hearts. What's in a name? In Hollywood, names are currency. They can open doors, raise eyebrows, or disappear in a sea of similar faces. But for Kristoffer Polaha, his name is more than a moniker, it's a tribute, a roadmap, and a personal legacy. I'll never meet Kristofferson, probably, he said, though he didn't sound disappointed. But I don't need to. The impact is already there. My mom passed something down to me by naming me Kristoffer. Not fame. Not expectation. But a spirit of artistry, of authenticity. That's something I hope I live up to. As he stood to head back to set, snowflakes still clinging to his boots from the Christmas scene they just filmed, Polaha grinned. Besides, he added with a wink, it's a great conversation starter at holiday parties. Final thoughts. Kristoffer Polaha may be best known for bringing fictional love stories to life on Hallmark screens, but behind that charming exterior is a man shaped by story, heritage, and a quietly profound connection to an American icon. In a world where names often fade into credits, his stands out, not just for how it sounds, but for what it stands for. And in that way, perhaps the greatest role he plays is simply being himself. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with